center the model a little bit better. The plan today is, of course, to get some more paint on this wonderful model that I got from Creature Caster. A lot of resin. It's a pretty big model, as you can all probably see. Lots going on. I've got to work on a huge amount of detail on it, so I've got a few of the colors planned out for what I want, but nothing super ready yet. My wash can be in the back here. I started doing so this one, or these parts here are where's my pot? Not Lead Belcher, not Fire Slayer. Rune Lord bronze here. Rune Lord brass. So I'm excited to see how more of this comes out. There's lots of this model that needs to be dealt with, so this back needs to be done in as well. I got this top part here, which is all going to be metal. And then I've got some parts down here that I don't know if you can see well on the camera. Can we focus there? Need to be wood. They've got like wood grain going along them, so these pieces only be wood. The axes themselves have a great amount of detail here. Zoom in a little bit better, right? You see the chains hanging off the back. Yeah, I need to work on it a little bit, but we'll get there. So, to get started, I think I'm just going to begin touching up where the skin. I'll do that later. I gotta deal with these white parts. I'm gonna be doing actually Retributor armor over some of the parts that need to be gold. Hopefully that'll give me some better color differences than what I've currently got. Of course, my microphone's just always going to be in the way over here. See if I can get this to zoom in on the knee pad. I want to get better here. Doing the edges of this part here as some gold. Just try to clean up some of the sections, as you can see. Just applying a nice layer of this. This is Retributor armor, which comes out very clean, which is what I'm happy about. I don't have to work too hard to get a good color out of it. Let's get inside the cracks there. Have to move my microphone a bit deeper in so I can lean in a little bit. Let's see if I can't. Honestly, I'm going to move my paint pots, or the paint I'm currently working on, to the other side so that I can have a bit of a cleaner time. Hopefully. You guys won't be able to see me pulling paint off of it as much, but it should be okay. As you can probably notice, I got a bit more of a stable tripod for my phone to sit on this time for my last stream, but that doesn't stop my hands from being as unstable. So I'm still kind of dealing with that the best I can. Try to brace both my wrists on the table I'm working on, I find that helps out a little bit when I'm painting. I wonder if I can set it to autofocus. Is that going to be a thing? Let's try. We'll see how that goes at least. There we go. So that's pretty good. Need some more paint though. That was the wrong paint cup. I just dipped it in my water. It's okay. I just won't drink from that one anymore. Oh, what a mess I am. Pretty good so far, I think. Come on, focus right. There we go. This is so delicate. I'm trying to... The camera's unfortunately right where I'd like to put my wrist. Normally get these lines in, but I can kind of just lean around it, I guess. Just don't want to hit it with the back of my paintbrush. How's that look? Oh, not too bad. The brush going along. Ah. Trying to get this one in here. Yeah, I'll be fine. Oops. Got some gold where it shouldn't have been. All good, all good. Paint that inside big gold, because it works well. Here we go. That's doing okay, I think. I'm just going to get in there so I don't have to go over that again later. Yeah. This is a pain to get behind there. It's okay. That's part of the model detail I don't worry too much about because I'm a bad painter, so it's okay if I... Alright. Like how there's bronze on those cheeks because I will go over it again with red later, but for the most part, no one's ever going to look down there, so it's okay. This thing's going to sit on the table, killing hordes and hordes of ghosts. Doesn't have to worry about it being too specifically, I'm a battle-ready painter, not a display-ready, let's just say it like that. I like when models look good on the table. I don't mind if they don't look great upon inspection, because I know I'm bad enough that any attempt to truly fixing that detail I make will probably just ruin the model. Look too cluttered or look like messy. You guys probably can't see what I just did there, but it's okay. Get some more paint. Oh, well, thank you for the follow, Quiz Labette. You get to stop by to see my personal scar brand get painted up. Nothing too complicated, of course. I'm just sticking with a pretty classic paint scheme and have fun. Just hit my brush a little bit better. There we go. This is a creature caster model for people who aren't aware. I believe it's called the Lady of Slaughter. Makes sense, right? Looks pretty decent. Yeah, I know, right? Okay, that leg's coming along pretty good. Still pretty basic. I'm just trying to get color on the parts of this model that need it, and then I can come back later. What else is going to be gold? I think I'm going to do the axes in like a iron breaker, or lead belcher, actually. So I need to do the wood. Detail work on all these leg parts would probably be good to do right now, I guess. And again, this is all pre-magic of wash. But no, funnily enough, Quizlet, the one army I don't collect for demons is Slaanesh demons. I don't own a single Slaanesh demon. I couldn't tell you why, I just never really got around to it. This bit can be gold there. That looks pretty good, I think. Ah, perfect. Okay. What else needs to be done? The cloth here, I think I was gonna do purple. So I put a unifying theme where I put like some kind of purple cloth on all my models. I don't know if it would fit well though. I'm still kind of torn. Maybe you can make it like a lighter brown, like a tan. Skulls, of course, need to be bone colored. Wood at the back. I'll do the wood next. That sounds reasonable. Actually, I'll do more gold detail on the armor while I've got the gold paint out. Never hurts to have more gold, is what I say. Very custodies of me to think that, huh? Or Sigmarine, I suppose. Or not Sigmarine. What are they called? Hair Metal Chaos Marines? Hey. Just because I said I don't connect Slash Demons doesn't mean I can't have Noise Marines. No, they're still around. The Noise Marines, I don't play them myself, actually. One of my friends plays Chaos Space Marines with Slaanesh. I do Death Guard as my preferred Marine faction. It's a horn in gold. Hand. Wow. I guess you guys can't see it. I'm trying to do tips of the hand in gold. I'll come back to that later. I'm more focused on being detailed. Alright. Wood next. Alright, fuck. I'm already using this pot for paint brushes. For paint. I accidentally cleaned off my, well, you know what? I can't because I accidentally used my water cup as a paint cup. So I would have to drink paint water, which I don't want to do. You know what they say, a little bit of paint never hurt anybody, but, you know. The things you do when you're focused on painting and not on, whatever it is that's supposed to be done. Rhinox hide will be really, really dark. Do I want to start with Rhinox hide and then go over it with Gothor? That'll work. What are my other options for brown? That wouldn't take the like snakebite leather contrast. I think I'm gonna do Rhinox, then Gorthor. That'll keep it pretty dark, but that's okay. It doesn't need to stand out, really. It's just wood. Rhinox first. Shake up that paint. Cause the whole room to shake. Hope mine doesn't fall over. There we go. And oh, this is some. I forgot how thick Gorthor Brown is. You'd be surprised. It's actually contrast paint. I did hardly any work on the wings. They're all contrast. It came out really nice. There's some parts I need to touch up on it, but like surprisingly, the wings came out great with just contrast paint, and then Khorne red for the wing parts. They're not optimal. I need to go back and touch up some stuff, but it's contrast paints are a beginner's best friend, which is good because I'm garbage. I might need a bigger brush for this, actually. Not that big. Won't work. Touch this up later with more of my brass. If you guys can see, isn't it? Hard for me to see. Ugh. This is an awful angle to paint at. Okay, it's not bad so far. Yeah, move this over. Okay, need a bit more brown. Water on the brush. Water it down just a little, not too much though. Jeez. Oh, yeah. Oh.
go. So all the music's actually made by one of my friends. This isn't just the songs directly ripped from the albums of the games. These are actually compositions based on the songs one of my friends made for me. So it's pretty awesome. They're a talented musician. I've got permission to use it, so, well, all that hasn't protected me. Yesterday, I upload my video VODs to YouTube as like a just repository for all the things I do. Twitch purges VODs every once in a while since I'm not partnered or anything. What this means is that I put them on YouTube, and somebody on YouTube copyright claimed one of my songs or one of my videos because of the song, which of course, you know, just flat up is an incorrect copyright because these are all made by somebody I know and I've been given permission to use. But the song that was copyrighted was some Polish dude singing over the Zelda 2 Temple OST, and it was just fucking bad. Like, I don't want to dunk on any musicians, but like, it was awful. Like, I got no idea how the guy got a copyright for it. It was that bad. And it was kind of insulting to be like, have my channel threatened by somebody who makes absolutely trash music. I mean, I shouldn't really judge people. I make pretty bad content too, but it was just something else. Well, thank you. This is usually a much earlier stream than I usually do. I just got off work early, and I figured, hey, I might as well paint up a model. I need more brown, probably. A little bit more water. So this lady got to see the tabletop actually on the weekend this week. We had a game of Age of Sigmar at my place, which was pretty fun. And we did a 2v2. Now, you wouldn't think Age of Sigmar would work in pairs, but essentially what you do is two people each play an army. And then they all go at the same time. So during the movement phase of Team 1, all the models on Team 1 move. Etc. Right? And that pretty much just continues on for the whole game. So what we did was we did Blades of Khorne and Sons of Bahamut, which are the Mega Gargants, versus Nighthaunt and Sylvaneth. And this lady was taking the place of Skarbrand, who was recently priced up to 380 points on his own. Now, she did work. Skarbrand's gimmick is, one of his attacks he does is, he's got two axes, Carnage and Slaughter. Slaughter is, of course, your pretty standard high damage attack profile. It's standard, Greater Demon of Khorne has an axe, right? Whatever. Carnage over is a bit special. Instead of making an attack with it, you roll a dice, and if you roll off his wound table, if you roll above a certain number, which starts at 6 and goes all the way down to 1, or starts at 4 and goes all the way down to 1. If you roll above that number, or equal to that number, you do 8 flat mortal wounds, which, if you're familiar with the game, is a lot. And if you roll a 6, you instead do 16 mortal wounds. Now, the downside to this is he only gets one attack with that axe, but it's usually enough. However, his special gimmick is Skarbrand is unique in where as he takes damage, he actually gets stronger rather than weaker. So his best stats are at his lowest wound bracket. And has the special rule that if he's not in combat for a turn, he's treated as if he's in his lowest wound bracket. Which of course happened. and then I buffed him so he had an extra attack, which meant that both of his axes got 1 extra swing. And he did something like 32 mortal wounds in a single round because he also can spend 1 command point to, or 1 command point to attack twice. So, he killed a whole lot of ghosts. A whole lot of ghosts on his own. Or she did, I suppose, because that's this lady. But it was a very satisfying use of Scarbrand the Murder Blender. Doesn't always happen. The new Age of Sigmar rules are very interesting, actually. They have a lot more interplay going on between players during the turn. They've introduced monster and hero mechanics, as well as having more things to do not on your turn, like more command point actions, and both players just passively generate more command points, which I think is very nice. Command points in the first one tended to be kind of honestly flaccid, but that's okay. So Age of Sigmar 3rd Edition is certainly actually living up to what I hoped it would be. I haven't played too many games of just the one so far, but it was fun. There's a new scoring mechanic and everything. How much wood is there to paint? There's a lot of wood. It's getting there. Alright. Yeah, right? No, the rules in 1st edition were bad. Like, straight up, they just were not good. So I'm glad that there's actually good rules again. Honestly, now that I'm looking at these are looking like I should really have painted these before putting them on. That's okay. Not too bad. The one thing is I'm not used to painting on white. I'm used to painting on, yeah, shelving a product line for those rules was. Yeah, it happened. Honestly, I played Warhammer Fantasy, before Age of Sigmar, a decent amount. Like, I liked it. I had my Ogre army. They were cool, but, I didn't play as much of it as I liked. When Age of Sigmar came out, I'm like, this could be interesting. I usually play 40k. Going to a more 40k based rule set could be cool. And then I saw 1st edition, I'm like, oh, never mind. Never mind at all. And I was just very sad, because I really liked some of the stuff in Fantasy that was kind of unique to Fantasy, like the blocks of infantry. I will never defend certain rules, such as the no pre-measuring allowed rule. That was bullshit through and through. But aside from that, I think Fantasy did have a lot to offer that's kind of been cast out, right? In the search of more Age of Sigmar stuff. Now, again, I think Age of Sigmar is really coming into its own here. Oh, probably painting where you guys can see it, huh? But, Old World, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I bought a 3D printer. With the specific inspection of printing myself either a Lizardman or a Tomb King army using good models, because I don't really like how Games Workshop has for those ones. And as you can probably tell so far, I don't really mind using third-party minis, as long as they look cool. I will do these little belts, actually. Yeah, let me clean off this brush, and I'll go back to my other brush. A bit more narrow. These belts cannot be brown. Now that I'm focusing on them. My hand is really shaky, so it's super stressful for me doing these kind of really small detail work on the belts and stuff. Alright, that's not bad. Okay. So next is going to be Skullomania. There's a whole lot of skulls all over this mini that I need to get done in my patented skull formula. And by patented skull formula means I literally just use Games Workshop paints and put a wash over them. But that's okay, because no one's going to stop me. Posture check, but how am I supposed to posture when I'm crouched over to paint this model? Skull formula. Yeah, right? Cracker open. Cracking open a boy with a cold ones. What are we doing for paint? A little bit of water on this bad boy. Spin the paint pot. Okay. Alright. This is going to take a couple of coats. Oh, these skulls. I might not take too many coats, actually, because they're already on white, so... I tend to like to be thorough, though. I mean, come on. Don't tell me you guys wouldn't wear a loincloth made out of the skulls of your slain enemies if you had them. Honestly, with the way the color blending works on my camera, you guys can't even see the skulls that I painted, can you? What do you mean, maybe? Of course you would. It's rad! Coolest part about killing your enemies is collecting their skulls afterwards. Why else would you want to kill them? Why else would they be your enemies? Alright, alright. You're right. That kind of quote is pretty, corny. Oh, man. Yeah, you're allowed to all leave right now if you want. That was really bad. Alright, you know what? Fair. Fair. But if you scare them off, how are you expected to kill them to get more skulls? A scared enemy is just one more enemy you can't murder to take their skull. Also, I really like the detail under the ribcage here with the metal plates. It looks really good. Who needs 300 skulls? It sounds like you're talking as if 300 skulls is somewhere near enough. Alright, since skulls. Okay, so they're getting there. But I also need to deal with these... Are there skulls on her ass? I don't know. Looks like there are skulls around her ass. I need to get those. I'm supposed to wash them, but I'll get them. There we go. You should feel bad for all the skulls in the base. Being stepped on by a giant demon lady. Nobody wants that. Absolutely nobody. Exactly. See? You understand? Nobody. Lots of skulls. Lots and lots of skulls. Lots and lots of skulls. I'm gonna get some more paint on this pot. I've only seen this many skulls in person once. It was not a pleasant sight. I spent some time teaching English in Cambodia. And I visited one of the killing fields that the Khmer Rouge had set up near Phnom Penh. And they have a shrine there. The temples they have are these large vertical buildings, about 40 feet tall. And the entire thing was filled with the skulls of the people who were killed there. But, hey, at least it's a warning sign for people in the future not to forget things like that. Alright, moving on to more lighthearted topics. I've been doing some thinking these days. I know, a dangerous thing, me thinking. And I'm fairly well-read as a person, I like to think. And I've got a hobby that is reading. I like to read studies. I like to go through people's essays and studies on various topics that I am probably not academically properly equipped to handle. Like, for example, I was reading about game theory the other day, and I really enjoyed it. And I feel feeling there's not enough people out there who have spent time learning about these kind of things, because it's honestly a bit of a pain in the ass to learn. So I was wondering if I should be streaming my personal attempts to parse some of these topics that I think a lot of people would like to know about, but haven't quite gotten the chance to read about, either academically or just personally. I wouldn't say I'd be giving a lecture or anything, but just going over some of the core talking points and explaining some theories that I like reading philosophy, so I read a lot of moral ethics and game theory, like I mentioned.
but going into basic topics such as that or math principles could also be quite interesting. I was wondering if there'd be a demographic of people who would stop by streams to hear that kind of thing. I don't know if it's too pretentious of me, but I thought it would be an interesting take that not a lot of people do. Yeah, exactly. One of my, I think I brought up, I think this is the third time I'm going to say it, but I quite like game theory, because it allows you to apply mathematical ideas to human decision-making. And most people don't think about that. They don't actually think they do math when they're thinking about these kind of things. But it helps explain some decisions people take that are functionally just math problems they're solving in their head about what they want. There's this word used very commonly across many disciplines that you may have heard before in different contexts called utility. Honestly, it's not that complicated an idea, but it gets used for a lot of things. And when referring to economics, philosophy, math, game theory, utility specifically means how much a person wants something. And what benefit they gain from having or achieving said thing. For example, how much is a cheeseburger worth? Does that cheeseburger change in value when you're hungry? Or is it worth the same amount? Could I convince a starving man to pay $500 for a cheeseburger? Now, philosophically, you would never want to do this. Like, morally, that's not something you should be doing. But it does have a very similar effect upon everybody's everyday value of how they look at things. People who have something want to sell it for more than they paid to get it. That just makes sense. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The idea of making a profit, inherently, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think a lot of people would gain if they took the idea of making profit. But at the same time, I feel like it can be exploited. Unfortunately, it is exploited. But moving on from there, we should go back to the topic I was actually trying to get across. It's utility. Utility is an idea that everybody wants the things they want. And it doesn't really matter why. All it matters is that you do. McDonald's, right? Sure. McDonald's works. Is a McDonald's hamburger worth $5? Is it worth $3? Is it worth $10? Is it worth as much as a bottle of shampoo? Those are things that economists really like to ask because it allows them to determine how to price things, what the supply for something's going to be. Why do people want it is also an important question. But for the most part, those kind of questions are just nothing. They don't actually mean anything on their own. What they do allow us to do is perform matrices. Now, is that $3 at most, or $3 what you want to pay? Because remember, what you want to pay and what you will pay are generally different. For example, if somebody walks into a McDonald's and all of their friends are sitting down and having a burger, and you notice that the burgers are $5. All of your friends have already decided they wanted to go to McDonald's, and they already start paying their $5 for their burger. Do you say, no, I'm not going to buy that, it's too much, and just sit alone while your friends are all eating?
Well, probably not. Or the similar way of what I asked. Would a starving man pay $100 for a McDonald's burger if it was the only food around? Probably. Because most people value their life more than they would value their money. So no matter what, the cost of surviving, people will pay it. Which is one of the reasons why medicine in particular has such egregious profit margins. Is because people generally want to be alive more than they want to have $100. So they're willing to pay $100 to stay alive. I'm not saying that everybody thinks the same way, but it's just something to keep in track of. Distracting from my major point, though, what I was going to talk about was the idea of utility in a greater part. Now, when it comes to game theory, for the most part, we don't value utility as a number. We don't say, this burger is 5 utility, that yogurt is 2 utility, and this TV is 10 utility. We might put those numbers down, but for the most part, when you're talking about game theory, the number that's highest matters the most, the end. Now, the most basic thing of game theory, almost everybody's heard of, is a concept known as the prisoner's dilemma. The prisoner's dilemma is as follows. 2 thieves are caught stealing. They robbed the place and then both drove away in a stolen car. Now, the cops managed to catch them, but they don't have enough evidence to send either of the men to prison for anything other than the stolen car. So what the cops do is they propose rules for the prisoners of, if you guys want to, shall we say, cooperate, and neither of you confess or accuse the other. Yeah, the prisoner's dilemma. You guys will both go away for 2 years because we'll pin the car on you no matter what. So you're gonna get 2 years no matter what. However, if one of you accuses the other, and that person didn't accuse you back, you get to go free, and the other person who didn't accuse gets 10 years in prison. So, if they both cooperate, they both get 2. If one person betrays and the other cooperates, the person who betrays goes free and the person who cooperates takes 10 years. If both people betray the other, they can corroborate the statements and give both people 5 years. So, as a number game, it's mathematically superior for the prisoners to cooperate with one another, as the 2 of them will always gain whenever they are cooperating. They'll only go for 2 years instead of the risking 5 or even 10. However, from the point of view of a prisoner, without knowledge of what your friend, or I guess I can say partner, will do, game theory says you should never cooperate. In a single game, where you only have the knowledge that I've portrayed so far, game theory dictates that each player must act in accordance to what will maximize his own utility or value. So a player should do whatever is best for themselves. Now, bear with it a second. It'll get a little bit more complicated than just that, but which means that if you wanted to have the greatest utility, what you would do is betray your friend, or in this case, partner in crime. Now, your partner will also realize the same thing. Now, it's in their best interests to betray, but they also know that it's in your best interests to betray. Which means, if it is in your best interests to betray, they will never cooperate, because they know it benefits you more if they choose to cooperate. Or more accurately, it knows it will not benefit them if they cooperate and you are not cooperating. It is a risk assessment as much as it is a personal interest. Now, There's a lot more that goes into these kind of things. But whatever the case, that is generally how a prisoner's game is set up. Of course, this doesn't necessarily mean that you always get people who are villains in a prison situation. We can simply reword the prisoner's dilemma to be the exact opposite. There are two saints. Each of them is looking for funding for a care act to feed the hungry. Now, they know that if they both nominate one city, that city will get a huge amount of funding. But each saint really cares about their city they're currently trying to help. However, they know that if both nominate different cities, the least amount of money gets in. So, in the same way, it pays them, because if they nominate another city, they get nothing, and the other city gets it all. If they nominate different cities, each city gets the equal amount. Or if they nominate their own cities only, they get the least amount, because it looks selfish to the people who are donating. Now, this, of course, means that for the good of the people, your best interest is, even though it has the most risk, nominating your own city. Because that's what you want. You want to help the people of your city the most. So game theory can be kind of complicated like that. However, this is a very simple form of game theory. The prisoner's dilemma is honestly not a realistic dilemma. Let's take across another game here. One game we can bring up is the idea of a fugitive trying to escape his pursuers. Now, the fugitive has let me figure out what I'm going to do next in the model before I keep going. Has to cross a bridge. Now, the bridge gets him across an unfordable, unswimmable river, meaning if he gets off the bridge for any reason, or if he tries to swim around, he will die. There are 3 bridges, however. One is entirely safe. There's no risk on this bridge at all. One of the bridges has rocks falling from above every once in a while, and one of them is covered in poisonous cobras. Now, these cobras will not always strike, but they usually try to. A shrewd prisoner, if he guesstimates his chances, he can guess that he will have an 80% chance of making it across the bridge without dying. Meaning, 1 in 5 times he gets bit by a cobra and dies. However, the rocks are a little bit safer. He knows that when crossing, there's only about a 1 in 10 chance that he gets hit by a rock and falls. Now, as we said, there is a safe bridge. There is a bridge that has no risk whatsoever. So, in game theory, you maximize your value and always take the safe bridge. But we can also have to assume that the prisoner doesn't gain any value or utility from risking his life, which could certainly be true. It's very possible that that the prisoner enjoys the risk, thus attempts to cross a risky bridge, even if otherwise it would be advisable not to. Now, whatever the case, this prisoner, in game theory, we're assuming he doesn't have that problem and will attempt to cross the correct bridge. Now, that's fine. He gets to the other side, everybody's happy. Well, except for the fact that the prisoner knows that there is somebody after him. There is somebody willing to hunt him down to try to kill him. Oh, hi there, Sirius. How's your day going so far? So the prisoner is running away from a hunter. Now, the hunter has actually made it to the other side of the ravine, where the river crossing is. And the hunter knows that if she sets up in the correct spot where the prisoner attempts to cross, she will shoot and kill the prisoner every time. It's not a chance of escaping if she finds where he's going. Now, at this point, we have a situation where both sides, both players of this game, have to pick a side. They've got to pick one of three options they're going to choose between. Now, the fugitive wants to hunt the prisoner. The prisoner does not want to die. Or other way around. The hunter wants to kill the fugitive does not want to die. We know that. That's our base level assumption here. So, we can walk through what happens. We've got 3 bridges, one of which is 80% safe, one of which is 90% safe, and one of which is 100% safe. Now, logic dictates that if you were a fugitive trying to cross and you didn't want to die, you would take the safe bridge. And both the hunter and the fugitive are aware that that is a logical proposition. So, they both realize that the prisoner is best incentive is to take the safest bridge. However, the prisoner knows the hunter knows what the prisoner's choice is going to be, so the prisoner will avoid the safe bridge. And the prisoner will pick the next most likely bridge. But the hunter knows that the prisoner knows which bridge the hunter will be behind, so the hunter can move to the next bridge, knowing the prisoner will then select the next safest. Of course, which the prisoner before crossing can also deduce this. So the prisoner also knows that the hunter will then, of course, as soon as they switch, choose the next bridge as well. Leaving both of these two in a stalemate, where neither one can advance. You have two sides that both know about the other's, this is a term they like to put, rational behavior, or perfect information. They both understand what the other person has, what choices the other player has. They both understand the risks of those choices, and how they will affect the outcome of the game after all the choices are made. This is the same in the prisoner's dilemma we talked about earlier, where the prisoners are aware of the consequences for cooperation or for keeping silent. Now, imagine a game where the prisoners, where they didn't know, they were not aware. How does that change their actions? Is the prisoner's dilemma always going to betray? Or will there be some new change? It doesn't really matter, to be honest. When you have an imperfect game with imperfect people, the real answer is simply whatever they do choose. But, moving on from there, into a more fun discussion, we have the idea that, so these games, as we've gone on, have quote-unquote solutions. They have a perfect answer. What would game theory want us to say is an individual player's best choice? In the prisoner's dilemma, the individual player's best choice is always to betray, as that has the most likely chance of them getting away with the least punishment. It also has a very likely chance of them gaining a above average punishment, but they know that if my ally will always betray me, I would never bother picking cooperate because I would simply lose. This axe is a bit of a pain to paint because it doesn't like my bristles. So I'm going to have to go over it again with undercoat pretty soon, I think. Or I can really water down the lead belcher. That might get me some good traction to paint. Alright, there we go. Above here. Above. I know I'm completely covering up what I'm painting with my hand, but I needed to. Promise. It wasn't because I hate you, it's because I needed to paint. I just need to paint. You understand, right? I'm still struggling to get used to painting with a camera in front of me. Not something I usually do, to be honest.
Next break.
Yeah, I need to paint my brush for this.
Get there. Water on the paintbrush.
Alright, let's try to get some more angles on inside this. Okay, where it's at now, it's probably going to be unnoticeable if I leave the little tiny butt of that thing unpainted, so it's okay for now.
Perfect. Axe number 1. I don't know if that one's Slaughter or that one's Carnage, to be honest. I kind of just arbitrarily decide each game. Coming along. The gold's showing up. I like the brown. The skulls will need to be washed with probably not Nuln Oil, but Agrax Earthshade, because praise be unto Agrax. For it is our savior and light in this blasted world. Agrax Earthshade is just liquid talent. That's what I believe, at least.
This one is going to be a bit more complicated because there's a bunch of these really tight filigree lines on it, which my paint is not going to enjoy trying to run into, so I'm going to have to do thin coats so I don't get rid of any of the detail.
Lots of water on my paint here.
Pigment count on Games Workshop Metallics are actually fairly nicely high, so don't worry too much about detail being lost when I water it down like this, because it can still get across fairly well without having to worry too much about how watered down it is.
Okay. Ooh, the backside is going to be a whole other
Barrel of fun, ain't it? kind of see just how bad it is if I don't have enough paint or water on my palette before I start trying to get this bit done. Alright. Where do we go? So, when it comes to the newest changes in 3rd edition, Age of Sigmar, the one complaint I've got so far is I kind of miss War Scroll battalions. And I really hope that in the next Codex, or Battle Tomes, I guess they're supposed to be called, it's not 40k, they've got some sort of replacement for them. Because I like the idea of battalions being closer to what they were for 40k, where they're kind of just general rules on type of deployment you want to do, or type of army size you want to have. But War Scroll battalions allow you to do really cool things. Like, my favorite War Scroll battalion is actually Tyrants of Blood of the Khorne army, which is just take 3 Bloodthirsters, and the gimmick is that whichever as soon as one Bloodthirster fights, all other Bloodthirsters fight immediately after, which gives you a huge boost. You shut up, Beery. Now, this also comes into a few other ideas, where other armies had bad War Scroll battalions, so I think it wasn't very fair that some armies had good ones. So, like, I understand where they're coming from by making them go away completely. But I'm going to miss my Tyrants of Blood. Avatar's clothing? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with who Avatar is. Alright, so this is enough silver for this. I'm going to do some detail work. This is skull in silver. That axe is good. Oh, cosplay? No, you would not want to see me in this dress. Trust me, you do not want to see what's behind this avatar. Beery can answer. Beery's seen me in real life. Okay, that's decent. Those chains came out okay. Do the backside of them. The problem with these chains is that since they're so small but also bumpy, the paint doesn't like to stick to all parts of them. So I've got to kind of use really watery paint to get them covered. This model is the Lady of Queen of Carnage, I believe, from Creature Caster. That's their logo. I use her as Scarbrand or sometimes a Bloodthirster. Lots of detail, tons of skulls in the base. I'm really happy with how she's turned out so far. I love that face. Let me see if I can. Yeah, look at that face. Need to do more work to it, but it's pretty good. Horns coming off of it. Giant lobster claw wings, which are a little bit unwieldy, I will admit. But it's very cool. I just use it as a Bloodthirster. Because she is stylish. Gotta paint those cheeks again, because they're, unfortunately got brown and paint on them. Okay, so I need to do something else. I was doing the chains, that's right. Yeah, well, I think it looks okay. I don't think my Twitch is going to get banned because of Warhammer model. Although if someone reports me and gets me banned, you know what? I'll eat my own words, but I don't think anybody cares. It's a Warhammer model. I'm kind of sad that I accidentally used my water glass as my paint cup water, so now I've got 2 paint waters and no actual water drink. Let's do another color. What color do I want to do? The back. I do Balthazar Gold. That actually look pretty good, I think, if I do Balthazar Gold along the back there. Do I have an open Balthazar Gold out? This is it, right? This one's not open. This one's open. Always shake your paints before use. Of course, like I said, I'm pretty ugly, so like, Avatar is always better than reality. That's the whole point of an avatar. What else is VTubing for other than wish fulfillment, Alex? Although, does it come with the magic powers? Because that's just that would just be icing on the cake. I'm just completely covering this with my hand, aren't I? I need to raise this up so you guys can see what I'm doing. I need more bronze. Or I guess this is gold? I mean, it's bronze. Alright, there we go. This is starting to look pretty good, I think. I don't know if this is going to contrast enough with the Rune Lord brass below it, but it should be okay. I just wish it was... Honestly, I need to use more water. It's getting really... more watery. Here we go. That's a bit better. Problem is, now I don't want to overdo it on where the skulls and chains are, because I don't want to ruin those. Well, that one's been ruined. Okay. This is why you always do the skulls last, people. This is Hubris flying too close, or Icarus flying too close to the sun. Did I just call Icarus Hubris? You know what? Yeah, no. Much worthless. Alright, get in there. These skulls are not going to happen. If I want an even coat, I'm going to need paint over them. And then just come back later. Alright, more bronze, more water. Get appropriate levels of coverage going on. Oh yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with that one. Creature Caster is a phenomenal printing site. They do really, really nice resin models. And I am happy to be there to buy their product every time. I know it's a bit expensive. I think, like, I mean, even compared to Games Workshop, I think Creature Caster beats them out price-wise. Like, they are more expensive than Games Workshop. I, however, don't mind because they're so high quality and really well sculpted that I think it's worth it. So I tend to... This is my third fully painted Greater Daemon I'm gonna get done. I've got one of Nurgle. I've got the Tzeentch Lady. So these are my... This is my third Greater Daemon I'm coming up to. Mine? Oh, whatever you want. Usually, most people call me he, him, because, I mean, if you heard my voice. But I don't mind. Just call me whatever's easiest for you to remember. Usually, he, him is whatever people call me, because it's how I present, but I'm all good with whatevs. I'm comfortable enough in who I am that as long as I know you're referring to me, it's all good. Actually, excuse me, my pronouns are only, first-person pronouns? You must refer to me as I? No. That's entirely absurd. I'm good with whatever. Okay, what's my time limit coming up? I still got lots of time. I'm good. I'm good to go. I can't spend all day painting, unfortunately. I do have plans, but... This will actually probably be my last Thursday stream for quite a while. Now that a few of the restrictions have lifted where I live for COVID, I can get back to my regular Thursday plans, which is to play Dungeons & Dragons. But, so I might not be doing any more Thursday streams. This might be the last one. But it's a cool send-off, I think. So again, like I said, this lady is my Scarbrand stand-in, which means she gets dunked on in most games because Scarbrand is such a scary target that you need to kill him first. So, I mean, maybe not in 40k. I've actually never used Scarbrand in 40k because I've never played a game of Chaos Demons with 40k. And they don't really let you do faction mixing anymore. Souping's not really allowed. I mean, you can, but you lose out on so much if you do, so it's probably not worth it. Well, at least none of my armies are worth it. And considering I play Nurgle as my primary faction, I don't really have a chance to use Khorne models on in 40k at all, so... Alright, this is looking pretty good. That's looking fairly stylish. Again, you guys probably can't see when I do that, but it's okay. Painting's more important. Alright. Lots to do on this model. Lots of big flat surfaces. I wasn't really thinking of that when I looked at it, but there's a lot of flat surfaces in this model. With the wings and those... each of the armor plates as well, and the axes. Armor plates... these back parts of the wings, and the actual wings themselves as well. There is a cat hair stuck to my model. It's in an awkward place, so I'm going to be super careful with this pair of model pliers here and peel it off if I can. There we go. We're good. Any Guilty Gear soon? Yeah, soon. I played a couple sets with one of my friends, Echo, today before I started this. And I'll probably be hopping back online, what's today? Tomorrow's Friday? I'll probably do some more games tomorrow at noon PST. I gotta get out of floor 7 with Echo. I gotta at least get to 8 before... yeah, I gotta get it to 7. I don't want to get looked down on by all my friends who play and are way better than me too much. So I need to get to floor 8 before I can fight them again, so I don't look like a noob. But yeah, I got a couple sets in today with Echo, which is pretty good. Echo plays Kai. And Kai is easy to get in with against Nago. Maybe I'm just maybe I'm bad at stopping him, but it feels like he's just got so many tools to approach. Once I've got him on the back foot, or once he is in, I feel like I've still got some stuff to deal with him, but it feels like my usual game plan of sticking back and poking until they're low and then going in for the kill doesn't really fly against Kai, because he's just in my face from the start of the round with those crazy forward lunge jump attacks he can do. And then, of course, my other friend that I play against, Saber, who I'm actually going to see if he wants to play Guilty Gear on stream with me to beat me up some. He plays Soul Bad Guy, who is scary for, I'm sure, obvious reasons everybody's aware of. Mr. Bad Guy is indeed a bad guy and scares me. Get under the little wing parts here. That's pretty good. Now I just need to get that whole... There's this awful part between her shoulder and her wing that is, not feasible for my hand to fit in. I'm just trying to shove my paintbrush down there. Touch up the skull part here pretty soon, but for now that should be okay. Actually, you know what, might if I just go over the whole thing with brass? I think it'll probably look better if I do Balthazar Gold over the skull than trying to keep it a skull. As much as I love this skull, I think it's probably better to cover it up. That looks cleaner, doesn't it? That looks so much cleaner. And while I'm doing that, I might as well cover up these skulls with brass as well. Just to... If I do get too lazy, it means I don't feel bad about them being all white and crusty. I can just be done with it. Okay, I'll probably come back with a second coat. That back part's looking a little bit splotchy, but that's okay. How do I want to do her horns? I'll go back to the brown. Notice she's got like these skull parts as well. Come on, focus. Yeah, I don't know. Try to do those hooves dark brown too, whenever I'm thinking about it. Alright, Dorthor Brown, you're coming back. Oh, actually, no. No. Brass hooves. What am I thinking? It's a Khorne demon. The hooves gotta be brass. Brass for the brass god. Exactly. Brass for the brass god. Gold for the golden throne? Wait a minute. That's the wrong god. Okay. I just love this base so much. With the huge spirals of smoke coming off of where she kicked the ground to either jump down or jump up. Super neat. Alright. Let's think about... Yeah, so I need to bring the wood out anyway to do the horn bits, I think. What's going to need to happen. And I can do... the parts that are Gothor Brown I can go over with. Or the parts that are Rhinox hide I can go over with Gothor Brown. Because Gothor Brown is way too dark. Doesn't show up well enough. Yeah, I used some metallic paints, actually, for a large part of this model. The metallic pigments produced by Games Workshop are actually really nice, I find, at least. Maybe I'm just a bad painter, but I find them to be quite nice and clean, I guess is a word I can use. The pigments don't have too much issue when they're coming out of the model. The one thing I try to avoid, though, is using the same pot for my metallic paint as my regular paint when I'm painting, when cleaning my paintbrush between rounds, because the metallic flakes that they use to get the color can sometimes transfer between your brushes a little bit if you're not careful. I mean, you can end up with parts of your model looking kind of shinier than you would have thought, because the metallic parts in your brush was still there when you painted over it. No, the metallic paints do work out really well. I'm happy with how this model's turning out. Oh boy, this is shaky as hell, because I need to get in there. That's okay. Now let me come in from the top. These lobster claw wings are just getting in the way. I don't know how to do this. They're nice looking, but they fucking... No, that's... I can't get my finger in there. from the side like this, I think. And from the top up above. There we go. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to get out our skull paint again, I think. Go over some of the skulls one more time. The skulls end up being kind of, like, that takes multiple coats, because the skull paint I use, my skull formula, is starts with a layer paint, which is lower pigment count, but it's a bit cleaner. However, I'm trying to use it to cover a large area, kind of like I would a skull. So, or kind of like I do bone. So with my Death Guard, it works out okay, because I'm already doing a fairly dark one. But with this paint, it takes me a little bit of effort to make sure I get the color right before I go to wash. Now, let's be very, very careful. Get this skull on there. There's a skull mounted right on her head there. I want to make sure it's the right color, too. And all these skulls need to be... Actually, you know what? I'm going to wait for them to be a little bit more ready, because I want to... I don't want the brown to mix with my paint, so I want to wait for that brown to dry fully before I go back over it. Okay, so that's okay. And the tough part here is going to be, of course, going over the skulls on the ground. I need to get my wide brush out again, or my longer brush, because the base is covered in these tiny skulls. Oh, welcome back, Rosie. I hope the day is treating you well. You're catching the tail end of the painting stream for now, but I hope you're having a good one. As you can see, the base is absolutely covered in these skulls, so I gotta kind of just slather the paint around, right? Yeah. That's not normal. Normally, I would be streaming until midnight these days, but I am going to be heading out as we are formally celebrating some of the COVID announcements. We're allowed to have indoor gatherings where we're at again. So, me and the boys can play Dungeons & Dragons again in person for a long time. Our first time in a long time. So we're gonna be doing that. So from now on, Thursday streams are probably gonna be canceled, because that's what I'm gonna be doing on my Thursday nights. Not like I don't stream enough anyway. So that'll mean I'm be going back to Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Will be my stream schedule. I think it's plenty, but cool. Perfect. These skulls are getting there. And what color am I supposed to do the smoke? Oh, this is Khorne. As you can probably see, Blades of Khorne. This is my Scarbrand Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage proxy. He uses for Chaos Demons as well, but he's coming along pretty good. This is a creature caster specialty. Absolutely love the detail put into the kicking off the ground, having this piles of smoke and skulls fly off. But we're getting there still. Ugh. Thank you, thank you. It is, of course, a work in progress, and it will change much when I apply the so-called liquid talent over the whole thing. But I've got some, before we put this down for real, I do have some more things I need to put bone color on. Like the tips of the wing talons up there and stuff. As well as... Just stream D&D? No, no, no. The problem is those friends aren't streamers, so they would not really get a kick out of being put on full blast like that. What I do, however, do is I stream Lancer, which is a sci-fi Dungeons & Dragons thing, kind of where people play as a mech pilot, and I GM that every alternating Sundays and Mondays. So it was this Monday, so it'll be next. It'll be the Sunday coming up. It'll be my Lancer game. Yeah, here we go. Right up into the mic. I actually do have to lean pretty far forward into the mic because just the stance I have to take when I'm painting to lean against the table means I do end up being fairly close to the microphone when I'm painting. Because my hands are very, very shaky. So if I don't brace them against themselves or the table or whatever, they tend to shake too much for me to paint. So I have to kind of be crouched over towards my table to do it, which of course is where my mic arm is, so it, of course, gets right up near my face. But I hope you're all okay with that, because it's pretty much the only solution I've got. Do I want to get the tops of these bone as well? Probably. Okay. Oh, turned it okay. I'm gonna have to touch up the skin. There's a few stripes that I've missed in the armpit over here, and in particular on the ass. I gotta touch up with red. But for the most part, this is coming along pretty smooth. I've got a lot of detail work to do still. My basic premise for the future is gonna be the skulls, horns, and everything, and pretty much every part of this model is going to get washed with Agrax Earthshade. I want to do detail work on the edges of the axe blades, get some blood effect on there. Also, do something so they're not just one flat color, put a second color on them or something. The knee pad as well, just once it's washed down, will look a lot better. Same thing with this. This cape needs to be something, I'm thinking purple, because I just like purple as a color. Aside from that, I need to get the smoke done. It's a big part of the colors palette for the model. I need to do those in brown under behind the leg here, so that's one thing I forgot about. I like what I did with this. This turned out okay. Got a lot of work done towards some of the parts that I thought really needed work on them. And it's starting to look okay so far, I think. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna put this down for now then. And we're going to try to track somebody down to raid, because I'm going to be calling the stream fairly soon. But I don't want to have all of you guys be lacking in wonderful painters to do. So I'm going to try to track somebody down who's also doing some painting and see if we can't say hello to them.